Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And, all right, we're going to get straight to it because we kind of sick and tired of the BS, aren't we? All right. And this is why real Afro men, if you call yourself a real man, all right, a real man is about standards. A real man doesn't have his head filled with smoke 24/7. The real man don't worship a plant. Okay? I want y'all to understand this. A real man does not worship a plant. All right? A real man is not addicted to any substance. All right? We talking about the category of real man, the high value men, so to speak. All these dudes that think they high value, right? You have no value if you're addicted to a substance. All right. But this is why those who have their head on their shoulders, who are the high value man, see, value is how well you have your head on your shoulders and your value to the community. All right. And this is why those men should root for the Jamaican women sprinters over the USA. Now, before we get into this, let me greet everybody real quick. Favor and Hatugu dog, Ola Oi to the Bang, Bosses, Los Bunchunes, and me, Kedu Bawani Kunichiwa, Ni Hao Ni Ama, Sani Bonane, Jumbo Harai Gani, Assalamu alaikum Shalom, Kamustaka, Kamusta Pokayu, Talapa Lava Soy Fua. One of the main reasons in doing this is the track record when it comes to putting the flag and some jewelry over the life of a child. Now, what is some of the reasons I come up with this video? Well, another BW got disqualified and she's banned for 5 years. We'll get into that for a minute. But I want to acknowledge Fraser Price. This is the second fastest woman ever. She showed that, but she didn't get no love because we wanted to pay more attention to a weed head that was worried about the chronic. All right, we want to be sad for somebody because they went through some stuff that a bunch of us Afro people have been going through and didn't waste opportunities on the chronic. All right. We're talking about the Jamaican track team who also knew the rules, who, if you know anything about Jamaica, although it's not everyone, that they are very liberal with, as I say, the chronic. All right. So how is it that the Jamaicans don't ever come hot on any type of drug test? And for you clowns that don't think that relaxation gives you an edge when you're running, you're a fool. Weed, as is referred to, does give you an edge over other people because it relaxes you, keeps you in a relaxed state. But this shows the mentality of the Jamaican women over that of the so-called American BAW. All right. And this is why I say to the real brothers, we should stop worshiping these females, stop worshiping a plant. But then again, I wouldn't have to say that because that's preaching to the choir. The real brothers don't do that already. But what I'm advocating to y'all is we root for melanated sisters, because when you look in sports, when any Afro person does well, I don't look at the United States as doing well because it was a slave country. And while I'm conservative in my views, and while I thought Trump was a good president, and while as a real man, I'm not bothered by words people say to out of anger at the media who has lambasted us for all of our regular lives. Oh no, that don't bother me. I look at the actions and they say, yeah, he did a lot of good stuff for us, but I didn't like the way he made me felt some kind of way because I don't like the way he talked to people. They said the same thing about Cosby, which allowed Caucasians to set them up. No, I'm tired of the BAWs in America and the BAW minded, so called weak minded dudes also strung out on the plant. All right? It's time for us to start showing our daughters other people. They don't have to be from the United States. We need to show them that they could be bigger than these women in the United States. All right. 3 of the fastest female runners in 2021 is from Jamaica. And guess what? Yes, they are all melanated. But I want y'all to pay attention to here. Look at this picture. All right. Now, all the women wore these rainbow wigs because everybody's trying to take a bite off of FloJo's thunder. All right. And so FloJo had nails and she came up with the design thing. And see, people miss the point. FloJo was a pioneer in that she designed her own track wear. Made it something sexy, you know, the one leg out. You know, I mean, you're already skin tight, so how do you look sexy when you're already, oh no, you put color to it. You're sexy, feminine, and fast. See, people don't understand that her appeal was she was fast and feminine. She wasn't trying to be the fastest man. She was trying to be the fastest woman. She embraced her femininity. All right? And dudes loved her for it. Dudes was like, oh yeah, that's a woman I'd like to get with. And she was married, and they respected her for that. There isn't much to respect any American track athlete for today. So this is why we shouldn't have much to do with them as far as rooting for them. Let me say this. The BAW's first thought, period, in the United States is never the family. If it was going to be the family, they would choose dudes other than thugs for fathers. All right? She will sacrifice a child through an abortion and everything else for a medal or the hope of getting a medal. Like Richards, who then wrote a book, The Medal and a Flag, so proud to run for a country that had oppressed Afro people for the better part of 400 years. Think about that. Think about that mentality. All right? Not running to represent the community of the oppressed, but running to represent the oppressor. That's these BWs. And we know this is because the first thing they did was sacrifice the child through abortion. Both of these women apparently were married. Richards, when she did it, before the running in the Rio Olympics, she's like, oh, I talked to her with my husband. No, she didn't. She just told him what she did. All right? But we'll talk about the other woman, the hurdler. She didn't tell her husband. All right? She's the main subject of this story right here. So what did she do? She got banned for a substance. No, she got banned by the drug testing committee. A lot of D's in there, right? But let's look at why she got banned. Before we go into why Richards Ross, Shelley Richards Ross, all right, she aborted a child, took a man's seed from him, took her a future, took the eldest. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't call the one she had after that the eldest. She took the life of the eldest male, right? And she did it thinking she had a chance at a gold medal. Do you know when she repented herself? After she didn't win the gold medal and them two runners passed her. All right. And she just looked at the sacrifices she did, all the sacrifices for that flag, and ended up with a bronze medal. So in her mind, the child was worth a gold medal, but not the bronze. She only had remorse. At no other time did she only had remorse after she came in third. Because that's how they operate. All right, now let's get into McNeil. This is even worse. Her husband didn't know till after the fact, right? She missed drug testing. That's why she got banned for 5 years. But drug testing ain't the worst of it. It's why she missed the drug test. McNeil said this week that she missed January 2020 test while in bed recovering from an abortion that she had 2 days earlier. Think about that. According to the New York Times, she did not hear the anti-drug official knock on the door at her home, nor did anyone answer her phone, according to the report. The summary of which was confirmed later Friday by the anti-doping officials. Missing one out of a competition test does not necessarily or not necessitate a ban. All right, but she missed 2. Typically, it takes 3 in a 12-month period. This was McNeil's second after June 19th. So it's her second missed test. And the unit, the AIU is the Athletics Integrity Unit. All right, understand that. Athletics Integrity Unit. That's why weed is a banned substance when you're going to run track for the USA. They don't want people running over into other countries acting irresponsibly because they're doped up. Understand this. All right. What happened was she mistakenly changed the date for her abortion from January 10th to January 11th, leading to the suspension. So she's blaming it on the abortion. Think about this. She said if she would have killed the child sooner, she would not have missed everything. Understand this. That's the mentality of the BAW in America. All right. And so now she wants us to feel sorry for a murderer. McNeil posted on social media that she was under physical and mental trauma after the abortion. So we're supposed to feel sorry for her and weep for her that she don't get to run. But saying, yeah, that's all right, because you took the life of a child in your belly. And that is not as important as you running. for a country who subjugated people based on the color of their skin for the past 400 years. And although I agree the country is finally coming to terms with the wickedness and evil that they've done, a lot of the things like eugenics, putting in place and putting inside the BW's head that a child is not as important as a gold medal or running in the Olympics. That's what they put in their heads. So they eliminate the Afro race the way the eugenics people wanted them to. Think about that. And you can read the rest, because it's her little pee-wee crybaby excuse, which I'm a little teeny weeny at, and my heart bleeds for her. You know, strike up the microscopic violin. Think about it. Here's another thing. These women do not ever take accountability. The system is pretty messed up, nor do their weed head dudes sitting there crying about everything is racist. Some of the stuff is, but this weed stuff isn't. You see what I'm saying? And only ignorant, you have to be the most lowest of ignorant dudes about your people to think that they're going to take away weed. This is what makes you a worshiper of weed. They're going to take away weed to harm or be against Afro people because they just don't have the wherewithal. No, and only black, let's say black Americans, because they don't have the wherewithal to not smoke it when they want to participate in the Olympics. And we've never had a problem till this young woman-ish this year. See, everybody always blames the system for stuff that they do specifically. Period. For Afro female swimmers, yeah, you blame the system because of their bathing suits. That's not in their control. All right, they come a little thicker than that. And they are judging them by, let's be real, white rules. So yeah, yes, that's a systemic problem. But control when you have an operation to kill a child in your belly. You can't control when you hit the chronic. All right? And you can't do your due diligence to make it to the testing like you're supposed to as an Olympian, then something is wrong with you and you don't need to represent no country. Period. If you can't follow those rules, I mean, that ain't nothing to get mad at. This is why I admire Shelley Fraser and Price. This woman took the record. Shelley Ann Fraser Price becomes the second fastest woman of all time ahead of the Tokyo Olympics. But you know why we didn't hear about her? A weed head. And the reason why you didn't hear about her, the weed heads in the community only support weed heads that get themselves banned from sports. And because weed is their god, understand this, they can't stop smoking it to get a job. They can't stop smoking it to stay on the job. They can't stop smoking it to participate in sports, and they have shown that they can't control themselves even to get into the Olympics. And people have been through worse hardships than this woman who didn't know her mother at all. She was raised by her grandmother because her mother threw her out. So, oh, I was sad at hearing him get out of here with that BS, because a lot of people have had some torturous things happen to them, and only in modern day have the Afro people have become so weak-minded and so entitled that they think that they can get away with rules, or the public in general, the weed head who worship the plant, think that their girls should just get off. And in the midst of that, we're not following the Jamaicans. Now, here's the thing about Jamaicans. They were enslaved too. So I'm cutting for them. I always cut for brothers and sisters in track. I like to see good performance. Hell, if I see a white dude doing something magnificent, I'll stand up and clap. Shoot. Because it's sports. You know, and I'm serious. The strongest man and stuff like that, I'm just rooting for anybody to lift a rock. And you know what I mean? This woman clocked in at 1063. And the weed heads are acting like they idol who really don't like them and won't get with none of them dudes that said they will hit because she's in a relationship with a woman. Again, the difference in American versus the Jamaicans. Most of these women on the Jamaican track team are either married, will get married. They have their children. Oh, this one about this woman that's the second fastest in the world, she had her son. Left track for a bit to raise her son because family is important. And because family was important to her, she had family support to go back to track. And how about she's the second fastest woman in the world? 1063. Or did I say in the world? I mean ever. I just want y'all to ponder that. A mother of an Afro son who decided to have her child instead of abort it is now the second fastest woman ever. And meanwhile, to the weed heads, they are still trying to say, oh, the chronic is important. She couldn't stay away from the chronic. This is what her kryptonite was, the chronic. Her God is now the chronic. And now she is the new minister for a bunch of chronic potheads. Really, you can see it in their argument, the foolishness of everything. And they're not pro anything. They're not pro-black. Because if they were pro-black, they would root for anybody that's melanated that were descendants from chattel slavery. This is why I like Brazil. This is why I'm getting it on in Colombia. This is why I root for the Jamaicans. This is why I know about Marlene Otti. See, y'all don't know. Ooh, that was a fine sister right there. All right. And this is why I'm looking at the Jamaican female track team and saying, brothers, we should leave the American women track team, everything, sports, everything alone, and look to the Jamaicans if we're going to talk about the Olympics, because at least they have our values of having a child, raising that child, and then going being a bad mamma jamma. Values that do not exist in the American female athlete today. At least that's how it looks. with the exception of gymnastics, there's really nothing to root for whether they win or lose, because they don't represent us. They don't represent the community. They will abort a child for the possibility at a medal and to walk around with the flag of our oppressors draped around them. I swear, the United States need a new song other than that racist national anthem too. With that said, I'm out.